investigating Hunter, the Biden family is about like tracking a bleeding bear through a snowstorm. I mean, there's evidence everywhere that would point out that this family has been involved in the influence peddling scheme for decades. And this is very concerning. And I think that the American people are getting a taste of this with the fact that these documents were strowed in so many different locations.
Well, that was House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer joining me yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures. A new Harvard Caps Harris poll finds 64% of Americans, including 44% of Democrats, say that these unsecured classified documents locations are a serious breach of national security. Joining me right now is the former senior advisor to the Clintons, Stagwell CEO, and the Harris poll chairman, Mark Penn. Mark, it's great to see you. Welcome back.
Good morning.
You know, we should also point out the gross negligence that Hillary Clinton used when dealing with her own documents and her personal email server. But I got to get your take on where this is going, because there's a story in the Journal this morning. The Wall Street Journal title is this: Classified Document Discoveries Seen Tarnishing the White House. Mark, you have your finger on the pulse in terms of how the sentiment changes for the voting public. Has this affected the voting public's views of Joe Biden?
Well, I have to be honest. At first, I thought, well, this is really not going to affect Joe Biden. People wouldn't care. These classification systems were for the vice president and president. But now that the polling's come back, I have to say that it is absolutely affecting him in serious ways. His job rating is at 42%. I think he would have expected it to be higher absent the document problem. Most people see it as serious. 77% have heard about it, so this story has broken through. And I think, you know, almost 80% want investigations of this by both the Justice Department and the House. So, yes, this has become a real scandal. Has he been grossly negligent for a long time with classified documents? And will this then lead to an investigation of the Hunter Biden business dealings? Most people think it should.
Well, that's another angle of this, because James Comer was connecting the dots, the chairman of the Oversight Committee, and said that most people would be astonished at the number of people tied to the Chinese Communist Party that are connected to the Biden family. So do you think people are recognizing the national security threat, the national security risk that this president has put America in because of all of the money that he and his family have taken in from Chinese officials tied to the CCP?
Well, I think the answer, Maria, to that is not yet. I think they see a lot of smoke, and they're questioning whether there's fire. I think this Penn Biden Center, at which he received a lot of funds, in which most of his campaign team was housed, is also raised questions that was that funded by Chinese donations. I think if the Republicans really pin that down, it will really lead to what you're saying, Maria. I think that these next steps here are quite crucial in terms of proving what was going on there.
So, I mean, look, we've got more to investigate here, and we certainly will keep a spotlight on it. But, Mark, I want to get your take on who is leaking all of this stuff, because there is a notion out there, and I know you've heard it, that Democrats want Joe Biden out. And Democrats are the ones who keep pushing to get to the truth, because they want him to stop saying he's going to be running in 2024. Do you think there's truth to that?
I don't think there's any evidence that Democrats are surfacing this. The difference is the mainstream media is covering it, unlike the Hunter Biden laptop. You know, most Democrats still think the Hunter Biden laptop is Russian disinformation. And I think you have to look at that the president's only polling 35% in the Democratic primary. And that means he doesn't have a fantastic chance of even winning that Democratic nomination, but he could freeze out a lot of candidates. So I don't think there are Democrats behind this, Maria, but there may be Democrats who benefit from it.
Yeah, well, what is the bench? I mean, look, we know that Ron Klain is now on his way out, who, you know, you've got a new chief of staff coming in. And what are your thoughts on that? Your poll says that 79% of voters say that the Biden team should have admitted that they found these documents before the midterm elections. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain maybe should have been the one. How is this scandal affecting Biden's presidency? And do you think that we're going to see more heads roll around this?
Well, I think that as the American public opinion says in the poll, when these documents were discovered, they should have disclosed it. And the Justice Department here also buried their heads in the sand here. And so the public didn't know about this going into the midterm elections. And most people think that was wrong. And so they want to know what else is concealed. What is the source? How did these documents get there? Who put them there? How long they've been there? Were they really discovered by then? Lawyers were cleaning out things. Look, the American people really wants to know what really happened here, and they're not going to rest until they get a full story. As to Chief of Staffs, I think that it's good that there's a transition. I think Klain was not identified with the kind of compromise the administration's going to have to make if it's going to achieve any results now that the House has gone Republican.
Yeah, that's a good point. Real quick, Mark, what are your sense, and I know it's early for 2024, who's on the bench for the Democrat Party to run for president, if not Joe Biden? Is it only Kamala Harris, or are there other ideas?
Well, Harris is the only one with any significant support right now. You know, I think that if Joe Biden does not run, it's going to be one of those wide open primaries where you just don't know who's going to end up with it. You know, will it be the governor from California? Will there be other governors? Will there be someone we don't know who comes in as a self-funder? It'll be a wide open race. Harris with an edge, but she's far away from capturing it. Unlike DeSantis, who, if Trump is not running, really has an incredibly strong position right now in the Republican Party.
Yeah, but Trump said he is running.
Well, right now, our head-to-head, Trump against DeSantis, 55-45 in favor of Trump. That means it could be quite a horse race if this early it's within 10 points.
Wow. Well, giddy up. It's going to be an important and interesting couple of years. Mark, we're going to be talking with you along the way. Thank you, sir. Mark Penn joining us this morning. We'll see you soon, Mark.